This is Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, a compact city located along
From the edge of the ocean to the rise of the sun, this is more than a trip, this is how it's done. West Coast breeze in my wings as I glide, golden sunsets, let the highways decide. Redwoods talking, mountains telling me truth. Every mile adds wisdom, every stop adds proof.
From deserts that whisper to cities that scream, neon lights mixed with an American dream. I don't rush the journey, let the land educate. Every border cross feel like I'm leveling fate. I ain't lost, I'm learning. Every turn keeps earning more than views, more than fame. I'm chasing knowledge, not a name. I'm flying like an eagle, coast to coast, over rivers, fields, and stories untold. Searching for freedom, searching for light, from west to east, yeah. Day to night, I'm every state, got truth in the sand. This is America, seen wide and free. Knowledge my fuel, sky under me. Flames roll wide like pages in a book. Small towns teaching lessons you overlook. Factories humming, campuses alive, history breathing just to show how we survive. Through heartland roads where the stars feel close. Every face got a story, every town got hope. I don't just visit, I listen instead, cause wisdom ain't loud, it's what's quietly said. I ain't here for postcards, I'm here for the wise heart. How they live, how they grow, how the roots shape what they know. I'm flying like an eagle, coast to coast, over rivers, fields, and stories untold. Searching for freedom, searching for life, from west to east, yeah. Day to night, I'm flying like an eagle through the land. Every state got truth in the sand. This is America, seen wide and free. Knowledge my fuel, sky under me. Freedom ain't just space, it's understanding. Knowing the ground where you're landing. Past and present in the same frame. Different voices, one shared name. East Coast skyline, sunrise gold. Cavalry's classroom, stories bold. From cobblestone past to modern halls. You feel the weight when history calls. I came for the journey, stayed for the truth. Every stop sharpened my vision, my youth.
What's good, family? Welcome back to the channel. I'm E. Millions Williams, your tour guide for today's journey. Before we get moving, do me a quick favor if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and lets us keep bringing you these deep dive travel reports. This week, we're traveling to Washington, D.C. But we're not here just to visit, we're here to understand why D.C. ticks. This city isn't just monuments and museums. It's power, policy, education, culture, and everyday life, all layered into one place. Throughout this series, we'll be breaking down a full travel report. What it's like to be here, move through the city, and experience it as a visitor. And just as important, we'll be covering a quality of life report, how people live, learn, work, and build futures in the nation's capital. So lock in, stay curious, and travel with purpose. Ikuzo.
Right, good morning. How you doing? This is Emil, and we're going to be going over the economy, farming, real estate, and we're going to look at a few aerial views as far as droning. And if you stay long enough, we'll talk about droning best practices in the DC area, aka rules and regulations of the FAA. So let's go ahead and get into it. So what we're going to be looking at first is real estate. The real estate market in DC, we're going to be looking at 3 different sources, and the reason why we're going to look into these sources is to determine the expensive or the inexpensive places in those places. The real estate is something that's very important. It's something that actually grows, so we're not going to really try to skip ahead. We're going to take our time diving into it. So when we talk about the market, DC receives 2 offers on average and sell in around 54 days. So every 54 days, 2 offers, that's the average. The median sale price is $700,000 last month and is down 0.4%. Since last year, the median sales price square foot is $456, down 1.5% since last year. This right here is the median price of all the houses in DC. It's been 443 that was sold on the market year. I believe this is probably talking about last year, or no. I believe this is just for November, I guess. Not exactly sure. Let's go ahead and look at it. So I'm pretty sure that the y-axis is referring to number sold, and of course those are the years. So I guess they're just showing one. Okay. So again, it's saying median days on market 54 days for a sale. Say work with the best agents in DC. And we're not interested in that. Sell to list price 97.4%, meaning that people normally get like 2.6% off of whatever they actually buy it for. Homes sold above list price 17.8%. Homes with drop price is 21.3. If you notice, it's more increased. So that means that people are really negotiating more. After that, when we talk about who's buying these properties, so when we talk about places like Washington and Oregon, it seems like more than 18 people searching to move to Washington, D.C., okay, from this hemisphere. I believe that place over there. And after that, Hemister. So the name is Hermiston. All right, that's I guess that's a place in Washington or in Oregon, one of those two. After that, we got 7 looking in New Mexico area. In Louisiana, we got 7 people looking. All right, more than 200 people are looking from North Carolina and Virginia, which makes sense. The closer you are, the more likely you're going to look to move there. 12 people in the Ohio, Indiana area. 5 people in Indiana. You got 220 people from up top Ohio. Is that Cincinnati? No, that's Cleveland. After that, we got 10 people in PA. 2,335 people in Hartford. I believe that's Massachusetts is there. But that whole area right there is very expensive. So that's Connecticut, I believe. Hartford is in Connecticut. Yeah. And after that, 936 people are looking from New York. Those are all expensive places. So I can imagine that the more expensive it is, the more likely you'll try to move there. All right. So when looking at it, in a sense, those are this is the actual chart written out of what we just looked at. We looked at it slowly. And people leaving, if you notice, is more people leaving DC than people who are arriving to DC. Salisbury, Maryland is being a great location for people to reside in. Salisbury is a little distance from DC just because of the little split of river, the body of river that separates them. But at the same time, I believe going across the bridge is not that far. But, when it comes down to it, they're leaving DC for more inexpensive, affordable living. A lot of people who work in DC live in Virginia or Maryland, and they commute. And commuting in the DMV area is not the best thing. Just like Atlanta, just like Houston, just like New York, really even Chicago, is this whenever you live in a mega city or a very popular city, that's what you have to deal with. And then about 1,600 people have moved to Miami, Florida, and Harrisburg, PA. And then around 1,600 for Virginia Beach, about 1,200 in Myrtle Beach and Orlando, respectively. Raleigh has been about 964 people, and this is just in 1 month. So this is October we're referring to December. Well, I mean it's basically the fall season. And after that, Richmond 916, and then Dallas, Texas 766. So if you notice, it is a lot of people are moving from DC as opposed to coming in. If you look at these numbers, 2,300. Oh man, it's not that many people moving. And they have that home offer insights for DC. Right now, there is a offer for 1.25 million for a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 4,000 square feet. That's decent square footage. The person basically is willing to put 40% down, and then $700,000 offer. And I guess someone did not accept it, but they did sell it for 700 for whatever reason. This one property. So this property, the one that sold for 1.25 million, it was on the market for 66 days, and it was actually bought for 17% under asking value. The one that was sold, but not, I guess, not from the person who who offered, it only stayed on the market for 4 days. So I guess that price makes a difference. So if you notice this house right here, this house is in the northwest quadrant, and is really not that big. It's 2,800 square feet. It's a row home in a sense, where it has multiple levels, where there is a up top, a ground level, and a basement for $1.15 million. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pictures. Yeah, this is the end cap of a row home. So it looks inside. Inside looks nice. Upstairs, I don't know about 1.1 million, but $400-some thousand. It looked like $500,000 house to me. But I don't know about 1.1 million. That's kind of excessive, especially when you look at the kitchen area. Nothing amazing about this kitchen area. And that's the reason why we always say, like, in real estate, it's not about the house, it's about location. Because if this was located in a different area, it would not be able to get the traction as far as being worth $1.1 million. It's only 3-bedroom, 1.5 bathrooms. So anybody who's in this house is only really big enough for one family. And then if you look at it, one bathroom, that means that it's only one tub, and then after that it's only one guest bathroom. So this right here, you're definitely paying for location only. This is also one reason why people generally commute to DC. If you notice down here, the basement is even unfinished. So and that we have a unfinished attic as well. So there's an unfinished basement and unfinished attic. It does have those garages. That may be kind of a nice feature, having the garages. It doesn't really explain. The backyard is not the biggest backyard. At the same time, you get a little backyard. You have, let's go ahead and make sure. Yeah. So again, you get a little backyard versus a medium-sized front lawn, and apparently it is near a bunch of shopping centers. That makes it nice. Again, location. That does make a difference. So let's go ahead and look at the more affordable Southeast. Southeast a lot of times is known to be more not as nice as Northwest. There are some shaky parts of North, Southeast. Whenever you're moving to places, I always recommend looking at what's going on in the area. If you notice that this property here is half the size. Has one more technically full bathroom, and it's cost $371,000. So 700, that's basically like $800,000 difference. And that's a great deal of a difference if you really think about it. You basically can buy like 4 of these houses for the price of that one house. The kitchen area looks well designed, modern, very modern. Light fixtures up to date. Whenever I look at the setup photos of furniture, I find it funny because, you know, most people, when they move in a place like this, you have your own furniture, like normally, unless you're a first time home buyer. But even then, you're probably still going to get furniture from people, like an aunt or uncle or something in that nature. I like this house a lot more than the other one. As far as location, I don't know so. I have to figure out the crime statistics in this general neighborhood before I'll be like, yeah, this house is better. But one thing we can say is the bathroom looks a lot better. The kitchen looks a lot better. The living room looks a lot better. But as far as location, that is what you're paying for with this one. And that I believe this is the basement, which is completely done. This is a well renovated, completely done basement, and it has a bathroom in the basement, and then you have a bathroom that's upstairs that's all the way done. So looking at this, I'm assuming that they're giving up the washer and dryer as well. Real close to the metro apparently. So this is basically saying if you were to move into this house, you wouldn't even have to own a car, and it has a place for kids to play. Want to know who's that? Don't know who that is. Okay, so we'll figure out who that is. Not right now, though. Yeah, so you can tell it's whoever built this playground really was looking for music talent, trying to create musicians. So let's go ahead and look at the mid-grade. In fact, let's go ahead and let's find one in Northeast. Because right now it looks like if you move to Northwest, it's going to be a lot more expensive. This 2-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom for 726 square feet. You're probably just getting a condo for this. And it's going to cost you $480,000. I kind of laugh because when you think of 700 square feet, it's like you don't have much of anywhere to go to. Like, especially if you are mad at your significant other, you're forced to look at them as opposed to having another room you can walk to. When we look at this one right here, this is a 498 square feet for $210,000. You can move to a bunch of locations for $200 some thousand dollars, and you can get to 2,500 square feet in other locations. So you're really paying for location. If you notice, it's Northwest area. So Northwest is very expensive. Let's go ahead and we looked at, was it Southeast? So we need to look at Southwest. That's what we need to look at. So looking at this house in Southwest, this is actually a home, and it's not a row home. So maybe in the Northwest area, there's more row homes. I'm not sure, but that's what it looks like so far. When we look at this property, it's going for $500,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom with around 1,700 square feet, which is okay, especially for 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. If you think about it, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 1,700, that's not horrible. You can have a place where you can get some space, but it's not much space. And let's go ahead and take an actual look at the house. If you notice that, unlike the Northwest houses, this is not a row home. And it looks like you get a little bit more land. You see the garage. So that is a real big plus. You gotta love garages. I prefer having a garage that's attached to the body, especially if you can get into the house from the garage, because a lot of times when you get out of the when you get out of your garage, you don't want to have to walk outside anymore. At the same time, if you have to walk outside, at least let there be like a fence guarding you between people, just because that way, if somebody was to try to, I guess, sneak up on you, they'll at least have to jump over a fence. It looks like it's a lot of space for this living room. I like the rolling door for the sunroom. That's nice. Or I guess it could be another living room per se. It looks like that is the dining room, family room. Kitchen is modernized. Unlike I believe it was at the Northwest home, where it wasn't modernized but still cost almost 1.3 million, 1.2 million. This right here is more modernized and more bathroom for more bang for the buck. You can buy essentially 1.3, I mean, you can buy 2.3 amount of houses for the same one that you would have bought in Northwest area. So that just lets you know Northwest is just a more expensive area. Again, when we talk about this furniture, you're not going to be owning the furniture most likely unless you say, can I get the furniture? So, that's not something we're going to figure out. I always kind of like these windows that are up top, where I like them because technically you can get some sunlight, but it's going to be kind of hard for someone to peep through the window. And so that means technically you can have it I guess you could say no curtains, and it's still kind of presentable and you feel like you have some kind of privacy with it. When we look at, this is probably upstairs, this bedroom right here. So again, there's only 2 bedrooms. It has a decent amount of space. You can see that this is the entrance or the closet space. This is the other bedroom. The kitchen area itself is very open. Well, not kitchen area, the bathroom here. So the bathroom, again, is very modern. As far as the washer dryer area, is in a unfinished part of the house. I really, when I look at houses, I always kind of look and see if it's finished or not. That lets me know a lot. My main thing is, if you're going to spend top dollar, I need my house to be top. I don't need anything where I may have to put extra money in if I'm spending $500,000 on something. That makes no sense to me. But at the same time, you are paying to be close to DC. I guess they're trying to show you how beautiful it will be in the morning. So, yeah. Yep, like I was saying, that was a sunroom, the living room, dining room. All right. So the last area we're gonna look at is the northeast area. So that's more of, would that be Tacoma Park area? Nope. So that's technically Maryland there. Okay, northeast. So we're going to be looking at this one right here for northeast. This area here, so far we're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with about 1,500 square feet. It's much bigger than the 700 square feet, twice the size. At the same time, it's a row home. So if you notice, it seems like the north side has more row homes than the south side. South side may have more single family homes that are not row homes. I don't like row homes myself. It just reminds me of condos. And you're sharing space with your neighbors. And what if your neighbor have a bunch of cockroaches? There's nothing stopping the cockroaches from getting into your place, or the rats or anything of that nature. The kitchen area, I guess it's kind of modern, but it's not really. I mean, it's decent. That we have a heater that is kind of old fashioned. So Ain't no telling if it's central. It doesn't seem like it's a central air for the most part. So yeah, regular modern chandeliers. The bathroom area. I mean, the design is not horrible. I mean, it's nothing to write home to mother about, though. This is a nice size family room or living room. I really do like the room. It just seems like you can have a few people over and y'all be able to be in each other's presence and you're not like on top of each other. So that's something that I have to say that seems like that's a good thing for this house, especially considering it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with only 1,500 square feet. So you're not getting much bedroom and you're not getting much room for the bathrooms, it seems like, but you do get a porch. So you do get a little porch, and I believe this is the backyard. And you get a little yard, you get a little grass, you be able to make a little garden. Your kids can't really throw a football in the backyard. Well, they could, but your football is not going far. So let's go ahead and check back with what Redfin has to say. So one thing that you notice, Northwest is more expensive. Really, the north side is more expensive. Then it's the northeast side, and then it will be the southwest, and then southeast. Something of that nature. It seems to be where you're going to have more expenses in the northwest, really the north side, as far as compared to the south quadrants. And when we talk about the schools, if you notice that the schools here, is a bunch of schools that are ranked for 10 out of 10 for the elementary, and there's 2 schools for 9 out of 10. That's great considering some of the schools normally are 4 out of 10s. This school the district right here, we have 2 7 out of 10s, and then you have 8, a 9, and a 10. And this is only showing 5 out of 53 middle schools. When we talk about the elementary schools, it's going to be 100 plus. Remember that when you look at schools, high school is going to be the lowest amount of schools is going to be high school. Then there are going to be middle schools, and the most going to be elementary. So after that, we have a few schools that are from the high schools. It look like you're not going to find any 10 out of 10s, but you will find a few 9 out of 9 and 8s and 7s. So, I mean, if you're looking for a good place for education, DC is a great place to be at. And then we talk about flood factors. 17% of properties are at risk of severe flooding over the next 30 years. So you have less than 20% chance of your house being flooded in any of the properties in the DC area. When we talk about fire, it's moderate, 15% of risk of wildfires over the next 30 years. That's really not high. As far as wind factors, 98% of properties are at moderate risk of severe wind events in the next 30 years. As far as heat, 85% of properties are at severe risk of heat over the next 30 years. I'm not exactly sure how that works. At the same time, I am not the meteorologist, so they know a little bit better. As far as walkability, it is ranked a 77 out of 100. I really do agree that walking in DC is really a pleasure. It used to be a time where you couldn't walk in the southeast, southwest region without having a lot of issues, but nowadays it seems that with gentrification, it seems a lot easier to walk those neighborhoods that used to be kind of dangerous. As far as the transit, it's a 69 out of 100, almost a C. In theory, 70% is great. Bikeability, we talked about it in a earlier video where biking is something that DC really promotes. They really promote a healthier life. They promote walking, they promote biking, and they promote using the public services versus a place like, let's say, Atlanta, Georgia, where it's not going to be as friendly to bikers, or Birmingham, Alabama, or cities in Tennessee, where it's not going to be as friendly to bikers in theory. So let's go ahead and go to our next source. So the next source we're going to be checking out is about population and housing profile. This is State Data Center. So State Data Center 2012 to 2016 highlights 17% of population was under 18 years and 11% was 65 years and older. 86% of people living in DC were native residents of the US, and 37% of residents were living in the state in which they were born. 44% of families make up DC. 90% of people 25 and older had at least one graduated from high school, and 55% had a bachelor's degree or higher. So one thing about DC is very educated. That's one thing that you will see if you actually look at the data and statistics, that they try to keep up on the studies. So I've always been a firm believer, if you are in your latter time of your career, it may be a good opportunity to move to DC. If you're in the beginning, not so much because of the cost of living. So 50% of households had a income below $15,000 a year, and 23% income over $150,000. So it seems that there are more people making it than people who are not. I do not understand how someone could try to live in an area making $15,000. The government subsidies probably is something that they're taking advantage of, or they're living with family, one of the two, or they could be living with a friend. 14% of all families and 30% of families with a female householder and no husband present had incomes below the poverty line. So that means almost 15% of families that are female led, and in a sense, 30% of, I would say 14% of all families and 30% of families. So what they're saying is 14% of families who have a husband and wife, and then after that, more than double when it is a two-person household, when it's only the lady that is the household, are below poverty. 71% of the people employed were private wage and salary workers. 25% were federal, state, or local government workers. One thing that we all kind of know throughout, I mean, I can't say everyone knows this, but one thing that people do know about DC, if there are influx of government positions available in DC. So if you did not know that, most people know it because, of course, the White House is there, and then the House and Senate, the representatives really are there. So it's kind of common knowledge for anybody in the DMV area that, you know, the government jobs are great and plentiful. Unless Doge is taking care of it, of course. Among those who committed to work, it took them on average 30 minutes to get to work. Of the total housing units, 37% are single unit structures, 63% were in multi-unit structures. When we talk about row homes, those are the 63% that they're referring to. And if you notice, when we were looking at the properties, the north side has an influx of row homes. So in DC, there are more row homes than single family structures. 41% of all housing units were owner occupied, 60% were renter occupied, So what this means is 60% of individuals are renters and 40% are owners. So looking at the population, this is their makeup. We have 17.4% that's under 18, 12.3% that is 18 to 24. We have 36.7% that is 25 to 44. We have 22.1% that are 45 to 64. And we have 11.4% that is 65 and older. This is the age demographics. If you're looking at the makeup of race alone, we have 42% that were white. We had 50% that were black or African American. We had less than 0.5% that were made American Indian and Alaska Native. We had 4% that was Asian, less than 0.5% that was Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, and 5% were some other race. An estimated 3% reported 2 or more races. An estimated 10% of people in DC were Hispanic. An estimated 36% of people in DC were not white, non-Hispanic. People of Hispanic origin may be of any race. So that's one thing that you notice in when you are filling out the census. Hispanic is, they don't really consider Hispanic as a race, which is beyond me. But at the same time, I'm not the person who made it up. So if you would like to know more about this, you can go ahead and check this one out. There are about 8 more pages of data that deals with just the living circumstances of people who live in DC. If you notice, only 43%, 43.3% live alone. As far as married couple families, 24%, non-family households, 12%, and other family, 19%. So this is something that's going to be interesting. When we talk about the makeup of education, we have 10% that have less than high school diploma. We have 3.1% with an associate's degree, with 32% with a graduate or professional degree, 23.4% with a bachelor's degree, 18% with a high school diploma, and we have 13% with some college but no degree. A lot of people do go to college, and really, if you really think about it, there's nothing wrong with that. Just because when you go to college, you meet a bunch of people. A lot of times those, Bill Gates, my understanding, he dropped out, but at the same time, he went to a very prestigious school and he made whatever kind of people, met friends with a lot of influence, I guess. So, that's not really horrible. We're just quickly just going through this. If you look at something you want to take a look at for longer, feel free to freeze it and just look at it, because this a lot of information that the DC State Data Center has provided, and I love to go through it. At the same time, it's a lot of information. Types of housing units in DC. Again, we talked about it. We already went over that. It's very interesting to see that it's over 50% of row homes or multi-family units. Then we talk about heating. Gas is the major thing, and then some electrical. What's this? Occupants with housing cost burden in. We talk about language. 50% of people speak Spanish. 50% speak Spanish. 25.4% other Indo-European languages. 11.4% Asian and Pacific Islander languages, and around 12% other languages. It seems like if you were to run across somebody, 11% reported a disability. Likelihood of having a disability varied by age, from 5% of people under 18 years of age to 9% to people 18 to 64, and 34% of people 65 and older. And after that, when we talk about health insurance, this information right here, we can throw this away, because we know that one reason why these people had that health insurance at this time was because of the ACA. So this is going to be the last source we're going to look at when it comes to real estate. So when we talk about real estate, the market statistics. So Adams Morgan Real Estate Trends, they basically had listed 49 different locations with the median list price of $524,000, with the highest price being $3.2 million and the lowest price being $160,000. That is a huge jump. And the average single family home has 1.8 bedrooms with a 1.6 bathroom. That's a typical house. And after that, you notice more bedrooms is dang near double for the 1 to 2. But then after that, in order to get the 4 bedrooms, you're really paying a lot. Capitol Hills, out of 49 listed, $620,000. So it's a little bit more expensive. But it seems like I'm trying to figure out how come the 5 bedroom is less than the 4 bedroom. That's interesting. And after that, but at the same time, when you look at Capitol Hill, it's different because it does increase regularly. You'll think the more bedrooms, the more cost. So that's an interesting trend. When we talk about Capitol Hill real estate, 2.6 bedrooms into 2.3 bathrooms with the listing price of $1 million. DuPont Circle, not as expensive as the other 2 places, more properties for sale, and you get around the same amount as Capitol Hill. And is it Capitol Hill Heights? No, Capitol. I do not know why I'm thinking Heights. But Capitol Hill. With Capitol Hill, you have 2.4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and the listing price is a little higher, $1.2 million. At the same time, the median list price is different, which sometimes that happens. So if you notice that it does seem to be the same trend as the other location, where the 4 bedroom seems to cost more than the 5 bedroom. That's very interesting. Now, Georgetown real estate. Now, this is going to be much more higher because of Georgetown, the university. So because Georgetown University is there, the houses are going to cost more. So we all know that there is going to be an influx of demand for this. The highest list price you see is $8.5 million. The lowest price is $50,000. That's probably some kind of condo if it's $50,000. You're definitely in a 700 square foot place for that. Georgetown, the median price was $1.9 million. 3 bedrooms, 3.2 bathrooms. That means that if you were to get a house here, you can get some roommates, or you can actually have a family. If you notice, it does follow a regular trend where the more bedrooms, the more it costs. And one reason I feel that it might be this way is because when you have bedrooms like this and you're near a college, that means that in theory, you can rent out them rooms to college students, meaning that there is a chance to make money off of it. H Street Corridor, 44 listed, $775,000 is the median list price. It has a 2.74 bedroom count as well as a 2.57 bathroom count, with a typical property listing for $810,000. If you notice, if they start out high in the beginning with a small incremental increase. It's not a drastic increase like you see at DuPont or in Georgetown area. And so the 5 bedroom is 1.8 thousand, and then the 1 bedroom is 481,000. And so if you like to learn more about these areas, feel free to check out the link below. In the PowerPoint, it does have this link. This is Washington DC realestate.com. If you like to learn more about the market statistics, if you notice, it's not cut and dry. Some places the 4 bedrooms cost more, some the 5 bedrooms cost more. I mean, me personally, I like a little bit of land, a lot of rooms, just because when it comes down to it, it's not bad to be able to split the burden versus you being an owner of everything, paying so much money just to exist. So that's one thing that I feel that is great when you have a situation where if you had a house in Georgetown before it blew up, you're in a good position. But now getting in a place like Georgetown is going to cost you $5 million for a 5 bedroom, which makes it almost unattainable. So charts of the largest occupations in each area. So now that we are done with the real estate market analysis, we're going to be looking at the job employment analysis, where if you see where it says out of this number of employment, on the y-axis we have the occupations, on the x-axis we have the number of individuals who are actually employed. We have business operations specialists with a 38,000 people employed. We have a general operation managers, which is 36,000 people. Then we have lawyers, which is 33,000 people. We have management analysis, 20,000 people. We have managers all other, 18,000. We have public relations specialists, which is very common because DC is really the mega of DC politics. The public relations, 18,000. Computer occupations, 17,000. Security guards, 16,000. Janitors and cleaners, except maids and housekeeper cleaners, 14,000, as well as secretaries, administrative assistants, except legal, medical, and executive, 12,000. So the largest occupation in DC was the business operations specialist, and looking at it, the least employed would be the secretaries and administrative assistants. And that does make sense because normally administrative assistant is like administrative assistant to multiple people in the building. They're normally not a person who only deals with one boss. You normally have like 3 bosses a lot of times. So when we look at the DC income statistics for 2004, this is incomebyzipcode.com. This is where we're looking at. Again, incomebyzipcode.com. District of Columbia income statistics. It says that the average income household is $157,000, which is 43% higher than the U.S. average. Poverty is 30,000, US is 110,000, and then DC is more than that. Honestly, if you really look at the numbers, that poverty number really needs to rise up a lot more than 30,000. Poverty nowadays is more like 50, 60 if you have a family. If you don't have a family, yeah, 30,000 could be that number, but if you have a family, you definitely have to raise that number up. It's just more expensive. The median income was $106,287. And we talk about household. This means really 1 through 4 people income, if you think about it. But most times it's going to be 2 people. So when you think about 157, that means that most people are making somewhere between $75,000 to $80,000 per person. But a household would be 157. Then and so if the median will be 106, that means 53,000 will be the median, and this makes it 35% higher than the U.S. median. So let's look at the richest zip codes. So it's going to be kind of hard to look at the richest zip codes and really know about it unless you actually live there. So we're going to reserve that and have, if you like to look at it on your own, you'll be able to do that as far as actually looking at the quadrant it's located in. But one thing we can say, we can just go over the 5 richest zip codes, and I believe 20, all these twos and that. I think this is northwest, if I'm not if I can remember the DC zip codes. I believe these are northwest zip codes. So yeah, let's not dig into that rabbit hole. But long story short, I believe these are northwest areas. We have the median income household for zip code 20015 with a population of 15,000. The median household 250,000 with the mean income being 326,000. Next up, the zip code is real close to the other one. Is one number above 20016, which double the population, 31,000. And after that, the household income, median income would be 180,000, and the average income would be 270,000. We look at rank number 3, 20007, 23,000 people, not as much as the second rank or the first, but it's greater than the first, and it is $142,000 worth in the median household income, as far as the average income being 230,000. We have 20004. This is a small population of not even 2,000 individuals that are making money. The average income will be $225,000 with the household median income of 161,000. Then we have 20003 with a more population than the other 4, which will be 36,000. The average income being 197,000 and the median income being 159. If you'd like to look at this in deeper, you can. When we talk about the zip codes, I'm pretty sure that the 2000X are all referring to the northwest side, and all of those is probably I'm assuming will be the north side. So when we talk about individual incomes, the median income for a single person household is 75,000, which we were saying earlier. The average income per person in DC is 75,000, which is also known as the DC per capita income. And this will be to be lower than other income statistics such as median household because it divides the total income by all people, including children and individuals who may not be working, rather than just by those earning an income. So these are the numbers of people and how much money they're making. If you notice, out of 321,000 households, as far as this census is concerned, there are 7 people making under $10,000. And then there's 3 making over 10, between 15. So if you look at it, it's more people making $200,000 combined 7, 10, 16, 18, 20, 22. So it's more people making over $200,000 versus those making under $35,000. Again, DC is a beautiful place to relocate if you are in the middle of your career. If you're in the very beginning of your career on the lower grade, it may not be a beneficial place, because those security guards definitely are not. It's not worth being a security guard. Households under 25 generally are making $53,000. Households between 25 and 44 make the most out of all 4 of these categories with 122.5 thousand. And then households that are 45 to 64 making 119,000. And households that are over 65 primarily making it off of their pensions or whatever they made throughout their younger years is 70,000. And after that, we talk about Okay, so this is a great article for y'all to be able to check out. Again, you can find this on the PowerPoint. So whenever you have time, you can check it out. And I always recommend kind to do your due diligence before moving into locations. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is farming. So the main reason why we look at farming is because it is an economy that is normally strong in the urban areas. DC is not as urban as Maryland is, or even Virginia, because it's not a lot of land. It's about 70 square miles. So you're not going to be able to have the numbers that you have if it was in Illinois. So looking at it, it's 50% of the total of 211 locations are school gardens. 32% are community gardens. 17% are urban farm, and then 1% is food forest. Let's go ahead and check out this. Department of Energy and Environment, the DOEE. This is their report. If you want to learn more about how farming is done in DC, you can check out this website where it points out the number of school gardens that are in orange. If you notice, there are more school gardens, I would say, on the northeast side than any other place. That when we look at community gardens, it's really spread out. Community gardens are spread out. We talk about urban farms. You really don't see any on the northwest side, but you see it in the northeast side and sprinkles in the south side. And then when we talk about food forest, it's only in the northeast side. There's only 2 of them in the northeast side. So if you like to learn more about agriculture and just more about farming life, I recommend you going to the DOEE's .dc.gov, and then after that you can check it out on your own. Again, you can check out the PowerPoint we got, and just really, I'm always saying, if you are a lover of the farm life, I mean, I shouldn't say I always say, based on this information, if you love farm life, DC is not the place for you. You're not going to get that healthy outdoor feel as you would in a place like Illinois. So we're going to check out this a couple videos. This one video is going to be why the DC area is so rich, it's poor. All right, let's go ahead and check it out. This is about 5 minutes.
This is Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, a compact city located along the Potomac, just 30 miles from the Chesapeake Bay. First written into the U.S. Constitution as a district not to exceed 10 miles, Washington uniquely isn't a state, nor is it part of one. No, it's a federally administered district, where the federal administration itself is headquartered, functioning mostly as a consolidated county-city entity. With 680,000 residents, Washington has nearly endless economic power, capable of fueling the prosperous Beltway region that runs off of it, despite DC being considerably smaller than the Beltway portions of Maryland and Virginia. By the way, the DC Beltway is a 64-mile auxiliary highway that runs off the capital city and through Maryland and Virginia, not an economic region. That would be the DMV, which stands for the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. Though with the Beltway's role in connecting commuters and tourists through some of the nation's most powerful economic engines, it and the DMV have come to be used almost interchangeably. As being home to America itself, the place where its decisions are made and its money is spent provides some lucrative advantages that radiate all across it. Of course, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows for the Washington DMV. Being an economic powerhouse has made not just the city itself, but counties as far away as eastern West Virginia abnormally expensive. as the fiscal opportunities that come from DC come at a steep premium. See, there's this belief in Washington that the city's growing wealth and affluence have turned into higher-mindedness and outright opulence. A sentiment fueled by DC's place as the nation's most expensive housing market, with median rents in excess of $2,500. But being expensive doesn't make something luxurious, and DC's out-of-reach housing feels more like a symptom of its out-of-touch economics, as the District of Columbia is perhaps America's clearest example of being a tale of two cities, with far too many Washingtonians struggling as even middle-class wages fall short of meeting basic living standards in a place where the median home costs $618,000 and where 70% of communities report having 30 to 90-minute one-way commutes, while nearly a third of public transit commuters ride for at least 2 hours daily. So besides the 8,300 public housing units located mostly in the 8th Ward of DC, housing for everyday residents there is unusually difficult or outright impossible. While living outside the city means lengthy commutes, even in the wealthy parts of Virginia and Maryland that border DC proper. That's why 15.1%, or nearly 1 in 6 DC residents, live under the poverty line, while nearly 20%, or 1 in 5, face severe housing problems, meaning that DC has a poverty problem and a cost of living crisis, as even the city's elevated median household income of $101,000 and its $17.50 minimum wage can't keep pace with Washington's rising cost of living and increasingly limited housing stocks. In a city filled with mesmerizing architecture, incredible high-value amenities, landmarks, venues, and museums, historically important institutions, and some of the most powerful people in the entire world, that's because the true cost of Washington, D.C. goes well beyond its expensive housing. As Washington is a city for the rich, with outstanding amenities, several professional sports teams, world-class museums, and an outrageously high 25 Michelin star restaurants, along with some of America's highest-rated universities, with Georgetown, George Washington University, Howard, and American University, not just providing an exceptionally opulent education experience, but also the kind of networking opportunities that exist with maybe a few dozen institutions worldwide. As DC is an expensive city on every basis, from the staples of transportation, food, and housing to entertainment, goods, and services, making it a costly place even for the upper middle class and well-off families with significant means. That's how Northern Virginia and Southwestern Maryland became some of the highest income areas in the United States, with well-off commuters around the Beltway accepting lengthy drives from outside DC so that they can afford a lot more home for the money and a less hectic daily life. But what about people there who can't afford places like Bethesda, Alexandria, or Silver Springs? Students, the working class, even normal middle-class families. Because if you've visited the capital city, then you've probably already experienced the point I'm making here. This facade of elegance and affluence, the narrative among Washington's well-to-do that it represents ultimate prosperity, it's half-baked. Not just ignoring a third of the city that reports significant trouble making ends meet, but also the growing upper middle class spread across several outer bands of more livable areas around the DC metro, as Washington sits as a city divided between some of the nation's wealthiest and most powerful people living lavishly and the tens of thousands living in public-supported housing or worse. In a place that costs more than notoriously expensive cities like New York or San Francisco. But as Kristen Capps of Bloomberg puts it, comparing other expensive cities to DC misses the forest for the trees, as reputation and proximity to power are Washington's most valuable resources, conversely making it an inherently costly city, a place for the wealthy, but also a city with 671,000 residents, more than 2 actual U.S. states, creating a need for almost state-level public services with a citywide governance that employs tens of thousands. Alongside the countless staples of most U.S. cities, like 13 McDonald's and more than 100 Starbucks.
We're in Northwest D.C. in the prestigious Kalorama neighborhood. It's close to DuPont Circle, Adams Morgan, and Georgetown. This is home to Washington's elite, the Obamas, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, and most recently, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon and the owner of the Washington Post, who happens to live right here, and here, and here.
Right. So yeah, man. DC is very expensive. Anybody who's been there will tell you it's very expensive. It's not the place for the broke. So let's go ahead and check out this video here. So one thing that we have on for travel lovers, we have a bunch of aviation type of drone shots that we've taken all around from Maine to California, also Florida, of course, to Washington State. We have a bunch of area cityscapes, also ocean shots. If you were to look at our library, there are drone footages, and if you're going to be out there doing the drone thing, you have to know what the rules and regulations are. But for us, we're going to be blessed by somebody who probably had their permit, their commercial permit or something of that nature, to be able to look at the great monuments. So this is just really appreciating DC and their city line. right, so looking at just the we're gonna be looking at the rules and regulations of droning. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. So this is the dc.gov website, and it just talks about airspace restrictions. So one thing about it is, if you were to fly somewhere like DC, you're most likely gonna get in trouble. Anyone flying a drone within the designated restricted areas may be subjected to civil and criminal charges. The FAA has flight restrictions in place in and around DC. Flying a drone in any of the restricted areas to be visited by Pope Francis is against the law. Any unmanned aircraft, including radio-controlled model aircraft, UAS, are subject to those requirements. The airspace around DC is no more restricted than any other part of the country. There is an existing prohibition against flying any type of unmanned aircraft without specific approval around the DC cities, towns, and airports. Restrictions have temporarily been expanded to include Potomac Airfield, College Park, and Washington Executive Hyde airports. So give me 2 seconds. I need to look something up real quick. And generally speaking, when you are a pilot, there are maps that allow you to know for fly zones. And so we're just gonna look one up real quick.